Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm in our
So
studio.
I love it. I love that you're surrounded by gorgeous product, and you're wearing my favorite piece.
You know, I'm wearing it because I want to talk about it because this is such an
I know.
incredible jacket. It's
I have a
made.
question for you about it. We're gonna get all into that.
Okay.
But it's just a simple election day for a catch up, just a normal everyday occurrence, right, Kim?
Of
It's
course.
right. You and
Not.
I know each other from working together at Oprah Magazine, and it's so exciting that you've created the brand House of Fluff. It's incredibly high style, luxe, eco-efficient, animal-free fur and leather products. But let's start at the beginning. You've been a recognized name in both fashion styling and creative direction for years. How did you get your start? Do you remember the first shoot you were on?
Yes, because it was so crazy. I had graduated from art school. I went to Cal Arts and I moved to New York City. And it was the early 80s, and the Village Voice had decided to launch a fashion magazine. And all you young kids don't know that the Village Voice was really the shit in the 80s.
It was the shit.
Like it was like the big deal thing. And they interviewed,
it was the Bible. It was the Bible. It really
it was the Bible. It was the big downtown publication. And they had interviewed all these fashion people, and they were like, we just don't like them. Let's take the girl from art school that thinks she wants to do fashion. And that was literally my first job. So I was very much thrown into the fire.
You were thrown into the fire. I was thrown
Yeah.
into the fire. I didn't remember I didn't remember you ever telling me that story. Maybe you did. What do you remember the first shoot that you ever worked on?
Yes. Yes. I mean, it was incredible because the whole sort of idea at The Voice was that we weren't going to use fashion photographers. Like no one was going to really come from a fashion background. And I worked with really incredible photographers like William Wegman, like artists, or Gilles Perez, who's an incredible Magnum photojournalist. And the first shoot I did was with Gilles Perez, and we shot this band, and because he's a photojournalist, the shoot went until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Where were you, at like CBGB's or something?
Yeah, someplace on the Lower East Side. And I kept saying to him, they look like shit. They're too tired. We have to stop. That this isn't how it goes in fashion. Like I have no more wardrobe. And he just, was used to shooting all night and being at a war. I worked with Nan Golden, like incredible people. It was really an incredible time for downtown,
Absolutely. And downtown in New York at that time was just epic. What do you think sparked your lifelong interest and taste for fashion and style?
Okay, this I can answer. So my very good friend Lynn Yeager, correct?
Of course. Yeah.
So Lynn Yeager and I realized that we grew up in houses filled with women, with mothers that did not care for athletics. So our sport and joy and fun was shopping. And we basically shopped our entire childhoods with our mothers and our sisters and and then we grew up and made that our careers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Interesting perspective. For you, not only as a fashion brand founder and creative director, but also as a stylist, what does a fashion brand need to have in order to stand out, in your opinion?
Well, I think a fashion brand today, it's a really interesting time to have a fashion brand right now because the rules are so broken and we're really at the dawn of a new age in fashion, both creatively and also from terms of the type of things products we're making and the supply chain that we're using. So I think right now, I also think having a mission, and no one needs to make another pair of black pants or another white shirt or bring anything into this world that doesn't have a purpose. So I think now, if you're interested in having a fashion brand, you should definitely think about what's missing from the landscape or how you can improve the already existing landscape and start from there. And then basically it's a combination of really, really good product and a lot of marketing to cut through the noise, which a good message will do.
Yes, it will. And when you think of all the fashion shows, back to that again, all the fashion shows and all the shoots you've worked on over the years, what's memorable to you? What comes to mind? I know you have good stories, but do you have a standout kind of moment in your career as a creative director or stylist, in terms of a shoot or a fashion show?
You know, I feel like different things that are, and they're really personal things, you know, like I remember when I grew up, grew up reading all the fashion magazines and reading about the beautiful people, and it was the 70s. And I remember the first time like I shot with Francesco Scavullo and was like in his, you know, townhouse, and
That's
that was
insane.
something I read about, you know.
That's
Like,
insane. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
personal moment.
like kind of stuff like that, and meeting icons for the first time, you know, meeting Marissa Berenson for the first time, meeting, you know, Alexander McQueen for the first time. Like I think that there's a historical sense. I mean, and those things were just thrilling to me.
Absolutely. And you became immersed in fur when you joined the team for designer Jay Mendel. So just can you describe that aesthetic at Jay Mendel and your role there?
Yes, I was creative director, and I went there in the beginning of 2000. Of course, at that time, I had, you know, I'd grown up wearing fur, and I'd grown up eating, you know, meat and having pets, and all of that seemed okay to me. So I went there. I thought it was an incredible moment of luxury and a small little gem of a brand that hadn't really come into its own. And of course, the owner of the brand and designer, Gilles Mandel, also felt the same way. And my job was to take it from being a small family-run fur brand and really turn it into a first-class fashion brand.
Yes, and I think for people who don't recall or do not know, Jay Mendel combined, it was this sort of look of gowns and cocktail dresses, all combined with fur, mostly combined with fur. Wouldn't you say that was sort of the aesthetic of the Jay
Yeah,
Mendel brand?
I mean, the house started out as being known for having the finest furs in the world, and it was a Parisian, you know, small French family business. And Gilles came here and, you know, did furs for Jackie O, and it was all this very glamorous thing. And they were really known for making the finest furs in the world. And I think when I went there, and the idea was to, you know, that it had the bones of like Prada or Hermes, and that the same thought that went behind the fur product could also go behind all kinds of luxury fashion product. And I
Yes.
think that sort of coincided with the beginning of the red carpet, you know, with
Yes.
celebrity moments, with society moments.
Yes.
And the gown and the fur kind of went hand in hand. And it was really about incredible artisan product, to be
And
honest.
it was such a great look. What kinds of things, Kim, did you learn about fur while you were there?
I learned everything about fur. And it's funny to me in hindsight, my awareness of the animal, you know, I had no sense of that. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you order a steak, you know, if someone showed you a picture of the process that went on in between, you'd probably have a very sort of different sense of the final product, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of that was missing, and I learned after the fact. And then of course was rather horrified. But what I did learn at Mandel mostly was, you know, couture craftsmanship and really making things in a very old school, hand done, super professional French couture way. You know, everything was made at that level, and was made, you know, there was a toile and there were fittings, and it was very precise, and the level of craftsmanship is something that you just don't see today.
Yes. What made you decide to get into the world of animal-free fur and leather?
I put on a fur coat in 2017 to go to a party in Brooklyn, and I loved my fur coats. I mean, loved. Winter was my season. Okay?
I remember some great fur coats.
Yes, and I put on that coat, and I just looked in the mirror, and I was about to go out the door, and I just thought, you know what, this doesn't feel chic to me. This doesn't feel modern. I'm not this person. And that was the real like aha moment, turning point for me.
Wow. It's incredible that you had such a sort of standalone moment, just suddenly looking at yourself in this fur in a whole different way.
Yes, yes. Instead of being the most glamorous girl in the room, I really felt that I was going to be the least fashionable person in the room, both ethically and you know, figuratively of what I was wearing, and just it just didn't match my point of view or what I wanted people to understand about.
When you think, what do you think consumers need to be aware of when it comes to animal-free fur and leather versus real fur and leather?
Well, I think that now, you know, everyone, I mean, a couple of years, many stores and chains, and, you know, everyone from Zara, Gucci to, you know, Versace. So, so as far as the fur product, you'll find less and less. And I believe that there'll be even more marked, but you will find less and less. The leather product, I feel like, you know, still many of those houses that don't do fur still do shearling and leather, and you know, of a high quality. It depends on what's important to you, I think, as a consumer, and what you want to support, what you how comfortable you feel with products, or how you look for alternatives.
Yeah, what you believe in. So
Yeah.
speaking of what you believe in, what core philosophies did you want to launch the House of Fluff brand with? You've worked for so many brands and media outlets over the years. And what was important to you as you began building something that was a reflection of you and your very own?
Well, for me, the first thing, of course, was the animal welfare pillar. That was the first pillar. And then the second pillar was really to be as sustainable as possible, as earth friendly as possible. From the get go, we use single use plastic. We pick up all the scraps on the floor and, you know, fashion them into like plush collectibles we call scrappies. We were very mindful to only get things made in ethical workrooms where people are paid a fair wage. So I think it's really everything. It's supply chain, it's the making of, it's having an ethical point of view at every turn.
Yeah.
And also for us, the actual product, we didn't support using fur with a lot of polyester in it. And right away, we set out to come up with solutions that would be more friendly. And happy
Yeah.
to see
Yeah,
wilderness.
the animal-free fur and leather worlds, eco-efficient production, they're both these huge multifaceted worlds unto themselves. Had you known much about them before getting started?
No, I mean, you know, it all came from a quest of trying to find materials that didn't exist. And at a certain point, you look everywhere, you know, why does this have to have this component of polyester? Can the polyester be recycled? You know, you just realize there's no one is tackling these issues. And if you want this product, take it on yourself. And so right away started an innovation pillar that was both about sourcing the most earth-friendly products, fabrics, and partners, and also about inventing innovations ourselves.
I think I've talked about this a lot, but a lot of the times when somebody is building a brand or being a founder of something, it's you go back to school in a way. It's like you put yourself back in school.
Oh, yes.
You're learning something from scratch. Speaking of materials, tell me about your find and your use of cactus leather, which you're wearing right now. You're wearing cactus leather.
Yes.
Let's discuss
Yes.
that.
So, listen, we looked at all the different leathers because the truth is we were getting this great leather from Italy, and it was very luxurious, and you would never be able to tell it didn't come from an animal, but it had a lot of petroleum in it. So we searched all the different kinds of alternative leathers, and many of them are great. There's mushroom leather, which is huge now. There's apple leather, there's pineapple leather. And we found this cactus leather, which in Mexico, which we liked because, you know, the plant uses very little water. There's no pesticides. The plant is self-generating. We found that we could make the product there, so that was great for the carbon footprint. It was very economical, and most of all, it was very luxe, and we're all about that.
Yeah.
So the jacket that I'm wearing is one quality. I'm wearing an oversized trucker jacket, so it's intentional.
Can you see the bottom of the jacket?
Oh yeah, sure. So can you see it's big and oversized.
It's longer. For people that can't tell, it's got a longer silhouette.
Yes, it's longer and intentionally oversized. You now, this trench coat, right? Which is, and it's water repellent. So of course, that is why we made this trench. This is another quality that feels almost more like a Macintosh, like a raincoat fabric.
Right.
And it's very light. And this is a great coat, And the collar, which is detachable, is a bio-based faux fur.
Wow. We talked a little bit about how you had to sort of educate yourself on all of these materials and processes. How did you go about finding your resources, and how long did it take to do all this research?
It took forever because, it was just us, myself and Alex Dimmick, my design director. We both just asked everyone, talked to everyone. It's a small world. I mean, especially when we started, there weren't that many people that talked about sustainability or knew about it or cared about it. And we've had the brand, it'll be going on 3 years. And I mean, it's been a very fast moving train. Now, of course, sustainability and talking about the environment is every brand's doing it, whether it's, really something or not. So people are more willing to have the conversation, but in the beginning, you just have to just keep going and taking this connection and calling that person and asking here and asking there, and then get someplace.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of digging. You said, at one point you looked at yourself in this fur, a fur that you'd probably put on 1 million times, gone to 1 million parties in, and you looked at yourself in this fur in this whole different way. Obviously, sustainability and the environment became important to you over the years. So how else do you live an eco-friendly life?
Well, another thing that we're doing, I mean, for me, I live close to my office and walk back and forth and try to keep sort of my carbon footprint as low as possible. We also segue into just using bio-based fur. We've been upcycling all the fur we had in-house and creating a home collection and creating something like this other pink coat that's right next to me is a really incredible mink coat.
I was going to ask you about home. I was going to say, are they getting into home? And I wasn't sure. And you just answered that question. Because I'm thinking pillows, I'm thinking blankets.
We just launched it. I'm going to see if I can find a piece around here. Everyone should go. I'm going to grab a piece.
Are we walking with Kim right now, or are we waiting for Kim to get back?
I mean, you would die. We made a mink beanbag, and I actually, if I had the nerve, would switch my chair right now and sit on it, and everyone is dying. This is a very beautiful. Look how real this looks. It's a coyote.
That's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, and it's super, super, super soft.
That is gorgeous
and really great. There's incredible mink. I'll bring the bean bag over just for fun.
Okay. I definitely want to see the bean bag.
This is totally sick. Can you see this?
Yeah.
I am going to.
Oh yes, and it's black.
Change my seat, and now I'm going to happily sit on a mink bean bag.
Wow.
Because
that's great.
What is life if you can't sit on a mink beanbag while you're waiting for election results to come in?
That's it. That's you nailed it right there with that one. Do you know how much it's going to retail for?
Yes, I think the beanbag is like $4.95 or something.
When will it be on the website? And we need to put it on our website as well.
It is on our website, so I wonder if that means it's on your website. There's
Oh.
also pillows. There's an incredible mink throw.
Oh, I love it. Well, I
The
don't know
home
that we have them
collection
in
is,
our shop yet, but we're gonna
yes,
have
it's
to add them.
super, it's super luxe and super glam.
I love it. I love it. I love that it's black too, the beanbag. What's
Yeah,
the most
it's like
thrilling
a
thing?
deep mahogany.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, two things. First, what would you say has been the hardest thing to tackle and get right building a brand like House of Fluff?
Oh my God. I definitely think the ethics. I mean, I think it's really hard for small brands to source materials because you're not using big quantities. Getting people to pay attention to you, getting people to make what you want, especially if you're asking for things that don't exist.
Oh, I know how that goes. That's tough. What's the most thrilling thing of working on House of Fluff? Is it
Well, we've done a lot of thrilling things. We did all the furs for Rocket Man, the Elton John movie.
I know. What a
That
great
was very
project.
thrilling. I mean, it's thrilling. Listen, every time someone says thank you, I don't want to wear animal products, or thank you for being conscious of the earth and creating an alternative for me and giving me a choice, is always a pretty incredible moment and makes us remember why we're doing this.
Well, so how many pieces did you actually have to create for Rocket Man?
We only created three pieces that were three pieces, but they were very involved. I mean, one had piano keys all the way down the front.
Who was the costume designer for Rocket Man?
The costume designer was Julian Day.
Okay.
That's like Simic, our super talented
Yeah.
design director, giving me clues off stage.
What a fun project.
Yeah, he also did, I believe he also did the Queen movie, but I could be wrong.
What have been some other milestones for the brand that you're especially proud of?
Other milestones, we had a really incredible pop-up shop on the Bowery that was all made from zero waste. It was all made from upcycled electronic waste and car parts that we sort of salvaged in, local salvage yards. And that was a pretty incredible project.
Are you starting to try to think about pop-ups for the future?
Yeah, I mean, that one we did, it was supposed to be for 2 weeks, and it became so enmeshed with the neighborhood and as a destination that we kept it for a year.
Yeah.
So, I think as we come out of COVID and it's here in New York City, there are so many empty storefronts and seemingly so many opportunities. And it's so important to the fiber of a community, I think, to still have places that you can go and new stores and new energy, that I would like to say, I hope one of these landlords will make a deal with us and we can bring some joy to a little corner of New York City.
Yeah, and I think that the neighborhood is so perfect for the brand. I mean, it is that kind of a community over in that Bowery area.
Yeah.
And currently, Kim, you're offering mostly jackets and coats, outerwear. We talked about home, but are there plans to add skirts and pants and the like?
Not really. I mean, I think that we also do accessories, hats and scarves and stuff. And I feel like that's something that people are always like, why don't you do a bag? Why don't you, you should do a shoe, all that kind of stuff. Why don't you do a slipper? So I definitely think for us, there's play in the accessory area for sure. I also think another thing that we're doing is moving into ethical year-round materials. So we're starting to work with an Econel nylon, which is sustainable nylon, which is something mixed with the fur that is a better spring type of a product. And we also mixing French terry so that our assortment can become more year-round.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love accessories too. You know that. How do you decide which How do you decide which pieces to create for House of Fluff? How do you personally get inspiration?
Well, the original first pieces were all taken from the things that I owned and wanted to replace and didn't want to wear anymore. So in other words, I had like an incredible vintage Jaguar coat, that I just felt like Kate Moss every time I put it on. So we right away set out to create a leopard pattern that felt that way. And seriously, like our leopard coats, are as chic and timeless and forever and cool as
we have one on the site. We have the leopard trench on the website. It's perfect. It's a perfect trench.
Yes.
And since you're a stylist, Kim, I know that you think in this way. Who is the House of Fluff muse? Who is your customer? Well, muse and customer.
Well, that's so interesting. I mean, I feel like, I really feel like our customer is super varied. It's women that still wear fur coats, that know they need to have an alternative. It's, a lot of actresses and like pop stars that still want to feel glam and have moved away from animal products. Because I definitely think we're sort of the most glamorous animal-free house,
You are. I've had to research them all, always.
Yeah.
Yep, they really don't exist. And if anyone can design, if anyone can design it that way, it's you. It's you and your team.
Oh, thank you very much. That's so nice. Yes, but we pride ourselves in making something that is glamorous and you'd want to wear. Just that in and of itself is important to us. And of course, there's we're thrilled to have all the other messages, but I think the product itself has to be something really great and something you're really proud of and something that makes you feel really good when you put it on.
Do you have a dream person that you want to get House of Fluff on?
Oh, who would be my dream person I want to have House of Fluff on? Right now, I'm kind of obsessed with having like men start to wear the mink coats. Like,
I was going to ask you about men's, actually.
Yeah, I feel like that's a real fantasy that we've been having, and we love it when a male celebrity wants to borrow, and we've just tried to increase our sizing. So I think that's something I'd love to see happen. And
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about how cool your furs would be for that customer.
Yeah, for sure.
You did a little bit of this for Rocket Man, and I don't know how much you do now, but would you ever get into custom design pieces? I personally would love a coat designed by you, but I feel like that also is the fur world it has that element to it as well. Custom designs, would that ever be a thing for the brand?
Yeah. We have had custom clients that have reached out for things and we've done them. People always reach out around Halloween time. Burning Man is a huge thing for us.
Oh, I would think so.
We've done like a lot of incredible private label Burning Man things. And, of course, right now during the pandemic, that's, it sort of doesn't exist. But I think that's
no one's gathering
a huge opportunity.
Outdoor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your latest pieces are very colorful. We recently had a chat about color versus neutrals because the Kim Cantor aesthetic has always been 100% black.
Yeah.
Talk to me about color.
It's so interesting. So when we launched, we ended up launching with a black and white collection, which is extremely unusual, right? And color didn't even come into it. And like you said, I'm so heavily invested, and those myself in wearing all black, but that really started when I was in art school and I've never really shed it. Today, this maroon is another great color, the burgundy that I'm wearing. But we realize that color is something that makes people happy. And when you look around, there's so many people with great colored hair and great colored nails, and sort of the rules for color have all been broken,
Yeah, that's very true.
Which is such an incredible thing. And so we kind of thought well, let's take a stab at it and have some fun. And you know what? It's everything that people say about color is true. It makes you happy. It makes you smile. When we were making like the pink minks and the incredible violet coat and the lavender coat and working in the oranges, I mean, we just all felt a little bit brighter.
Yes, I see that. I get that. I've always been
So,
about
yeah.
color
So, I
and
mean, we're
certain.
into like kooky color combinations and incredibly rich colors. And we're pretty committed to it moving forward.
Good, good. And what's your favorite piece in the collection right now? And how would you
Um,
suggest styling it? Tell us about your favorite piece and how you would style it.
I have to say, so my favorite pieces, I love the mahogany mink coats. I love the idea of wearing ripped up jeans and, you know, a cashmere sweater with holes or a t-shirt and throwing on, you know, the House of Fluff, like iconic new mink coat and like some Birkenstocks and just
Yep,
existing this very super chic luxe way. I think that's one of my favorites. I
it's a
love the jacket I'm wearing, you know. I
yep,
think
yep.
easy
What's
conscious luxury is really what the new luxury is about.
yeah,
And
high low luxury, right?
yeah, high low, just a lot of classics, a lot of you know spectacular furs that give you comfort and make you happy and are guilt-free fashion, all sort of mixed up together. Like, I think there is no thing like I'm just going to wear a fur because I'm wearing an evening gown, or I'm going here, I'm going there. I think everything should be for every day and be happy, you know.
I love that. What's next for the brand, Kim, besides home and maybe some men's?
Well, maybe some men's, but we're launching our bio-based fur innovation in a couple of weeks, and all of the fur in that group is biodegradable. Some of it has plant-based fibers in it. Some of it is made from completely recycled plastic straws and bottles. And we're calling that whole group Stay at Home Fur because it's really like yummy and snuggly and earth friendly, and it's definitely it's I would say the most earth friendly fur on the planet. They're
Wow,
really
I can't. We're gonna have to add that to our House of Fluff shop when that's available. Is that neutrals, color, both in that
it's
collection?
it's a small palette because when we were designing it, we were really in the thick of the pandemic and not knowing how that was going to play out. We everything is sort of in a camel, French blue,
Oh,
like a
beautiful.
beautiful winter white, lavender. You know, kind of an easy palette, but that's definitely the future for us is creating and building the most bio-based group of furs and having incredible product that is not going to end up in a landfill, is not going to hurt the earth in any way, is going to be able to decompose if it hits the ocean. I mean, that's the real win, right? Of moving away from animals, right? The double win is
That's right. That's right. So as we wrap, finish this sentence. When you're investing in a House of Fluff piece, you're investing in.
you're investing in the future, you're investing in love. We like to say that we think of every House of Fluff piece as a gigantic hug from us to you.
I love it. Kim, it's so great to see you. To everyone
You
else,
too.
our House of Fluff shop is live on storyinrain.com, and you can also check them out at houseoffluff.com.
Thanks, Tamara. Thanks so much for having me.